Today I just want to talk to you about what I used to cut some 3/8 metal in the Black Friday video. So what I did the tabletop, well, it was a big piece of 3/8 flat steel, and so we took a torch, cut it in half, and then we did the tabletop. There's quite a bit left, and so what we was going to do is make some targets out of it. And so what I did is I had to find a way of cutting it. So what I looked at is some online with some different cutting methods, and one of the charts was using a torch, another chart was using a plasma cutter, and another chart was using some metal blades. And so I decided to go with the metal blade option. And what I found was some of these Diablo reciprocating blades for the recip saw. They got carbide teeth on them, and so that's it right there. I would definitely put my stamp of approval on those if you're going to cut any kind of steel. I do recommend using those for like a 1/4 inch, 3/16, and maybe an 1/8. It goes right through this 1/8 inch flat steel. It goes through it no problem. It was a struggle on this 3/4 inch. It does a great job. That's one thing I like it better than a torch. Because with a cutting torch, you have to do quite a bit of work. I had some of these cut out with a cutting torch. You see how much slag it leaves on it. So you have to do quite a bit of work. But we're just going to shoot them with a shotgun. They're going to be shotgun targets. And so what I did was I took this Lenox cutting wheel, and I really like it. I've used it a lot on this 3/8 steel. So I took it, put it on a die grinder, and what I did, I started my cuts, put my grooves in, and then came back and finished with the reciprocal saw. A battery powered reciprocal saw worked pretty good on thinner metals, but when you get up to 3/8, you're gonna run out of battery. I have 3 batteries, and get about halfway, you have to change the first one. And 2 of my batteries are real small. One of them is probably a 3-amp battery. It did pretty good, but waiting for the batteries to recharge cost me a lot of time. So I went down and got this at Lowe's. This is a 10-amp, run off 120, plug it into the wall. And I also picked up the Bosch 8 TPI metal blade. It's okay for thin stuff, but it didn't do very well on the 3/8. The 3/8 are definitely going to have the carbide tip blade. So the Diablo is one brand, Lenox had some, then I think another brand. But you can see these here, the teeth are still good on this one, but you can see that it's bent. It got so hot that it bent on me. I put it in a vise and tried to bend it back straight, but being spring steel, looks like it won't straighten out. So this other one, it worked out pretty good. You can see the hot marks on it. It got real hot on both ends. I ran it longer than I should, and it's got some teeth missing out of it, so it's pretty much junk. And I'm thinking about making about 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 more cuts. Then I'm gonna throw both of these in the trash, and then buy the amp carbide 6-inch and just keep those on hand. But going forward, I would say if you're gonna do 3/8 steel, use a plasma cutter, or maybe use a torch, and then just do the work to clean up. That's what I'm gonna have to do on those that are finished out. I would also suggest the Drill Master, I believe is what they call it, a Harbor Freight. They're really terrible. I was cutting some steel, had this wheel on one of those, but I didn't care if they burn up. They was on like $7 or $8, and the screw out of the head came out, and then the screw out of this thing vibrated out. So I changed over and I went and got a Hypertex from a Walmart, and these are really good. I've been very pleased with this. But once I put the blade on here, I've been running wide open, and I run it till it gets hot. Motor gets hot, and I sit down and let it cool, and switch over to the recirculating saw. And then when it get hot, I go back to the other one. And but I really love the cut. If you're gonna do thick metal like 3/8 and up, the cutting blade is really good, because what it does is I use it on the edges to cut a groove here, and then cut a groove right to start. I put this into the groove, and it takes off. It does really good. But I will say, on that thicker metal, the surf saw will beat you up. So anything less than 3/8, the reciprocating saw is great, and this Lenox metal cutting blade is good for that on a grinder. So I started out using these DeWalt abrasive discs. The DeWalt lasts twice as long as the one at Harbor Freight, but the problem is they leave a lot of mess, leave a lot of debris, and then the wheel gets smaller and smaller because it wears out as it's cutting the metal. So I won't be using those much anymore. I'll be buying carbide blades for the SERP saw, what I'll be going. And I decided the stuff that I'm going to use my welder for just going to be 1/4 inch or less. I don't really need any thick metal. I don't need to do anything big like 3/8. We're just using this because this is what we had. But going forward, 1/8, 3/16, 1/4, that's going to be my range where I stay and build anything I need to fix and repair. So if you're looking to cut 3/8 metal, I would suggest get a cutting torch or get a plasma cutter. You can do it with the carbide blades, the Diablo carbide blades, but it's going to work you to death. You'll be sore in the muscles, and if it's battery powered, you're going to constantly wait till the batteries get charged. So in summary, I would say 3/8 and above, plasma cutter or torch. 3/8 or less, you can use other means of doing it. Like I said, this really works well, and you can get them bigger than 4.5. You can go 5, 6, or 7 or whatever. And then of course they also Diablo makes one for the circular saw. And but I chose to do this because I didn't have a 7.5 inch circular saw. I only have a 6.5 battery powered at that. So I left that alone and just went with the research saw. Okay. If you like these kind of videos, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell, and then you'll be notified when I upload anything else.